Well, if you like offense, then the Dakota Dome was the place to be on Saturday. How's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elsen, and this is Coyote Corner. Well, USD ran step for step with one of the most explosive offenses in the country, but ultimately came up one score short. Let's take a look back at the highlights from the Coyotes' back-and-forth battle with 10th-ranked Youngstown State. Last time these two teams met, Youngstown earned a hard-fought 13-10 decision, but this game would be nothing like that one. Coyotes got a good look at the Penguins' high-powered attack early on. Late first quarter, Kurt Hess hooks up with a wide-open Jody Webb down the sideline. 40 yards for the touchdown. 7-3 Youngstown State after one. USD's defense comes up big to start the second. Penguins sweep right with Andre Stubbs. He never sees Aaron Swift. USD's senior safety comes in to rip the ball away. Jared Bryant recovers, and the Coyotes take over at the YSU 45. The offense cashes in 5 plays later. Kevin Earl getting it done with his legs again. 17 yards of the QB keeper. Second rushing touchdown of the season for Earl, and it gives USD a 10-7 lead. After the Penguins got back in front on a 4-yard touchdown run from their quarterback, the Coyotes go to the air. Earl looking deep for his new favorite target, Riley Donovan, and the freshman hauls it in 55 yards to the YSU 9-yard line. And on the very next snap, Earl rolls right. He's going to find his tight end, Cale Barkley, all alone in the end zone. First career touchdown for Barkley, 17-13 Coyotes. Back come the Penguins again, 3rd and 2 at their own 41. Hess finds a wide-open Jacob Wood. The big fellow rumbles 49 yards down to the USD 10. That would set up a 6-yard touchdown run from Martin Ruiz, and Youngstown State gets back in front by a pair. The USD would deliver the final blow before the half. Tyler Starr blindsides Hess. The ball comes out, and Kenny Greer recovers at the Youngstown 23-yard line. That led to a 40-yard field goal from Miles Berger, his second of the day, and the Coyotes take a 20-19 lead into the break. USD would add to its advantage in the third, and again it's the defense that sets the stage. Drew Iddings forces another fumble from Hess. Aaron Swift recovers this time, and the Coyotes in business at the Youngstown 38. 5 plays later, it's a QB connection. Earl, a picture-perfect fade to Josh Vandermotten. 11 yards for JBM's first career receiving touchdown, and the Coyotes extend their edge to 8. But it wouldn't last long. Ensuing Youngstown possession, Hess hits Michael Weary on 4th and goal from the 3. That gets the Penguins back within 2. And they would find the end zone again early in the 4th. Jody Webb right up the gut, and nobody's going to catch him. 42 yards for his second score of the day. 2-point conversion failed, but it's 31-27 in favor of Youngstown. And it stayed that way until the final few minutes. Jordan Roberts caps off a 7-play, 66-yard drive with an 11-yard touchdown run. And the Coyotes retake the lead 34-31 with just over 2 minutes to play. But that turned out to be more than enough time for Hess and the Penguins. Under 30 seconds left, he finds Christian Bryan over the middle to give Youngstown a 1st and goal at the USD 3. And Ruiz would finish it off from there. He scores his second touchdown of the day with 14 seconds remaining. And 10th-ranked Youngstown State escapes Vermilion with a 38-34 win. The two teams combined for over 900 yards of offense in this football game. 517 for Youngstown, 388 for USD. Kevin Earl threw for 229 and accounted for 3 total touchdowns. Riley Donovan, meanwhile, notched his 3rd straight 100-yard receiving game. It just wasn't enough.
It hurts. It's tough, but hats off to them. They're a great team, and they showed it today. They came into a tough environment and played well, and at the same time it hurts. And I think our team's going to rally back good. We're all loving up on each other in the locker room, and that was good to see.
This one's on the defense, definitely. We had it. Offense just scored. Getting ready to go on the 2-minute drill, and we let it go, man. And it wasn't our best performance. The stats show that we gave up over 500 yards.
This one hurts a lot. I mean, we did what we could offensively, and when we give the ball to the opponent with 2 minutes left, the lead, 100% confident that the defense is going to get a stop, but sometimes it doesn't happen. We have to learn from this game and try to bounce back next week.
You can't really ask for a better position to be in than our offense going down there, and we did a great job. We were able to get a score there in the end to put us up, and I think our defense being a strong suit of our team, we were kind of counting on us to make some stops, and it's just disappointing that we couldn't do it. I think we had the potential to do it, we have the ability to do it, but couldn't make it happen.
Now the Coyotes, losers of 2 straight, fall to 4-5 overall and 3-3 in the Valley. Meanwhile, Youngstown State keeps pace with NDSU. Both of those teams now 5-0 in league play. Plenty more to come on the heartbreaking loss to Youngstown State. We'll sit down with head coach Joe Glenn in a bit. But first, Midco SN analyst Andre Field will drop by to talk about Saturday's storylines. That's next on Kyle Court. All right, now that we've seen how things played out on Saturday, it's time to dig a little deeper into that loss to Youngstown State. And for that, we bring in Midco SN analyst Andre Fields to talk about Saturday's storylines. And Andre, it has to start again with the big play. Like at Illinois State, USD proved vulnerable to the big play on Saturday. Youngstown State had a couple of long touchdowns, a couple other big plays that set up touchdowns. This, all of a sudden, is a growing concern for this team.
Yeah, it is, Jay. It's a huge concern for the defense. We don't expect it because of how well they played early. But when you give up those big plays, it's probably some type of assignment error. You got guys doing other people's jobs instead of their own, and it's leaving gaps in the coverage.
And that's just, it seems like a coverage breakdown because each of the last 2, maybe 3 games, if you go back to you and I, we've seen someone left wide open, whether it be down the sideline, which we've seen the last couple of games, or deep over the middle, safety, losing contain, or whatever that is. But penalties, by the way, were a problem again as well. Yotes flagged 8 times for 60 yards on the day. And while the number of flags was troubling, Andre, it was the timing of a couple of them that hurt the most on Saturday. Let's hear for the players on that.
Those penalties are critical. We can't have them, bottom line. I mean, if you're trying to win, especially against a good team like Youngstown, you can't have it. But we still have chances, to clean that up and everything. And I got faith in my guys. I think we'll get it done.
In key situations, those hurt us bad. But we just got to learn from it and correct ourselves.
All right, Andre, we've heard the players talk about it. Coach Glenn has been talking about it for weeks. We've talked about it. Got to clean this department up.
Yeah, you absolutely have to. As we saw in this game, a penalty basically, even though there's other game to be played, a penalty basically cost them this football game, putting them in scoring position. You don't have that. You put the pressure on Youngstown State. These guys are putting the pressure on themselves by having so many penalties.
Yeah, you got the late hit out of bounds in the final drive by Aaron Swift. A couple possessions before that, offensively had a 30-yard run nullified by a holding call as well. Those 2 in particular were ones that really stood out on Saturday. All right, let's get to some of the good news now. There was actually a lot of positives to take from this football game. First off, the Coyotes had a great day in the takeaway department. They turned 3 Youngstown State turnovers into 17 points, and that certainly gave them a chance to win at the end.
Yeah, you remember Coach Glenn talked about this in the preseason, saying that the team needed to rally off of the other squad, and in this case, we saw the offense rally exactly the way it's supposed to off a defensive turnover.
17 points, so all 3 leading to scores. That's great news going forward. Hopefully they can continue that. All right, let's talk about the offense now. USD put up 388 yards of total offense on Saturday. That's just 10 shy of their season high. And with the defense struggling the way they did on Saturday, it was that group that helped keep the Coyotes in the game.
Yeah, and that's a good sign for Coyote fans because with the defense playing this well, you bring the offense along consistently like this, game after game. I mean, it's going to be very hard to stop in the Missouri Valley.
And it's going to be huge over the last month of the season with some of these opponents.
Absolutely.
They're going to have to put up yards, going to have to put up points. All right, finally, the evolution of Josh Vandermotten continued on Saturday. The Coyotes and offensive coordinator Wesley Bashatter continue to find more ways to get number 7 involved in the offense.
I go in there and try to be the best teammate I can and try to be the best receiver I can to make Kevin the best quarterback I can. And, just help him in any way I can. So, I'm going to go out there unselfish and, play anything I can. I'm just trying to help the team do anything possible that the coaches want me to or need me to do.
He's a major part of our offense because the kid can make plays and he performs in big games.
All right, Vandermotten hauled in his first career touchdown in the third quarter of this game. He took some snaps at quarterback, handled punt returns. He just seems to get busier by the week.
Yeah, he's an athlete, and athletes can do all things on the football field and on the court, anything, and Josh Vandermotten is a good one.
Yeah, he is dynamic, to say the least. All right, that's our take on Saturday's game, and when we come back, the head coach will give us his. Joe Glenn joins us next. And welcome back to Coyote Corner. Jay Elsen, joined now by head coach of the Coyotes, Joe Glenn. And Joe, the Dakota Dome side of a heartbreaking loss for you on Saturday. Number 10, Youngstown State comes in here. It steals one late from you. And I know you don't believe in moral victories. Most coaches don't. But at the same time, have to be proud of the effort your kids displayed on Saturday.
Real proud of them. No such thing as a moral victory. But we were talking before the show a little bit. If this was a 12-round fight, Youngstown came in and won the fight, but it was a split decision, and both sides made a good account of themselves.
All right, let's take a look at some of the highlights here from this game, and it was a good old-fashioned shootout, to say the least. Let's start in the second quarter. Things really got crazy then. You guys are down 7-3. Defense gets a takeaway. Aaron Swift forces a fumble from behind the running back, and Jared Bryant recovers for you at the 36-yard line of Youngstown State. And 5 plays later, Kevin Earl takes it in 17 yards for a touchdown.
Our defense, we struggled a little bit in places against Youngstown State, but not in the turnover category. We took the ball away from them 3 times. We had no turnovers, so that's really one of the first times this year we've really worked with our defense in sync. But out of those 3 turnovers, they all turned into points. I think 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So great play by Swifty, and heads up by Jared Bryant.
I made it 10-7. Kurt Hess answered Earl's quarterback draw with one of his own. That got them back in front. But your offense comes right back down the field. Earl with a deep ball to Riley Donovan, 55 yards. We're getting used to seeing this downfield.
This Riley Donovan's been a plus. Yeah, he's sneaky quick on you, and he's really smooth. He can catch the deep ball. He's one of those guys that's easy to throw to. He flows to the ball well. Kevin can lay it out there, and he'll close on it. And yeah, he took us down inside the 10, and then we got a ball in the end zone right away.
Start of his 3rd straight 100-yard game for the true freshman out of Minnesota. Next play, Earl to Cale Barkley, a 9-yard touchdown, his first career touchdown reception.
Well, Tyler Wilhelm got hurt, sprained an ankle there, doggone it. Senior tight end that's really coming on, but Cale came in and made some really good plays. I think he had a couple catches, and this is his first touchdown catch as a Coyote. 17-13
USD at that point. The back and forth would continue from there. Youngstown good on 3rd down all day, and Hess hits Jacob Wood here on a 3rd and 2. He goes 49 yards to set up a Martin Ruiz touchdown to get them back in front, but you guys really struggled to get off the field on 3rd down. They were, I think, 9 of 15 on the day.
Yeah, I don't think we did a very good job of getting off the field, and we lost our eyes a lot of times. This is a guy coming out of the backfield that we need to pick up and roll with him, and we just dropped him, lost him with what we're looking at, and got doing somebody else's job. And so they got a free touchdown there, and it's our mistake.
19-17 was the score at that point. Looked like that might be the halftime score, but the defense had other ideas. Tyler Starr sacks Kurt Hess. He fumbles the ball. Kenny Greer recovers. That would lead to a 40-yard field goal from Miles Berger, give you a 20-19 lead at the half. Miles Berger, 2 of 2 on the day. He had a good afternoon all the way around.
Good for Miles. He did a nice job for us, and he also did a nice job punting, giving us a lot of hang time. But I will say our defense took the ball away from them 3 times. We had 4 sacks on a very athletic team. They did not sack us once. I think Kevin helped us out of a couple.
Yep.
But we had the edge on them in those areas.
Another one of those sacks to start the 3rd quarter as the defense starts the 3rd, just like they ended the 2nd. Drew Iddings this time gets Hess, forces another fumble. Aaron Swift recovers. Offense takes that in as well, and this was good to see. Kevin Earl to Josh Vandermotten for the touchdown.
Well, it's a great call. I think Coach Bicharner knew we had a little bit of a match there that we liked, and Kevin threw a ball. He didn't throw it in. Sometimes he throws these fade balls into the popcorn stand. We tease him about that. But he threw this one just right. He hung it up for Josh. Josh can vertical jump over 30 inches. He's really got great hops, and he went up over the corner and took the ball, and great play.
First career receiving touchdown for Josh Vandermotten as his evolution to wide receiver continues.
There will be more.
There will be more. The Penguins would erase that 27-19 deficit pretty quickly. TDs on back-to-back possessions as they prove just how explosive they can be on offense time and time again.
I think this is the most athletic team we've played this year. Tremendous team speed, and they can hit you from so many areas, and they had a good scheme for us. we didn't get the dive shut down as well as I'd hoped. We knew it was coming. Just got to do a better job of squeezing down and making sure you stop the dive.
You saw that one on the 42-yard touchdown from Jody Webb. That gave them the lead at 31-27. The Coyotes, though, weren't done yet. As we've seen all year, they continue to fight to the very end, and that was the story again here. Earl gets the offense on the move late in the fourth quarter, and a big pass again to Riley Donovan gets you into the red zone. Then Jordan Roberts finishes off the drive with an 11-yard touchdown run. It's 34-31. You're in good position with just a couple of minutes to play.
Right. Kevin's been red hot. He's really been feathering some balls in there, and Riley's been his go-to guy, really going up and getting it or coming back on that last fade ball and a back shoulder pass, if you will. And then we were injured a little bit at tailback, but Jordan Roberts went back in after a couple different hits that he took Saturday, a knee and an ankle, but we blocked a G-play scheme that was clean, and he almost would have scored from 11 yards out in a touch football game. So Matt Miller got in there and got a block and got caught in the traffic, and a lot of guys tripped over him, I think, after he made his block. But it was a fun play because I thought we might have been able to stop him one time, and we just couldn't hold him up.
Yeah, the defense had gotten a couple of stops previous to this, but Heston and the Penguins take over just over a couple of minutes to play. He leads them down the field for the game-winning score. They end up getting in with 14 seconds to play, but I think the biggest play, fairly obvious when you consider the whole thing now, is the fact that earlier in the drive, Aaron Swift gets nailed for a hit out of bounds, and that free 15 yards, the penalty kind of theme that we've seen the last couple of weeks, really hurts you here at a crucial time.
Well, on the day, the penalties didn't hurt us a lot. We had a couple. We had a hold it. It hurt us. We had this play. They also had some big plays. They had some hits above the shoulder pads that guy was ejected, and so I think the penalty thing, was a trade-off.
Overall, though, again, we kind of go back to it, 38-34. Tough way to lose. Certainly would have loved to have that game, but the fact that you're competing as hard as you are 12 months after the season that you had against the number 10 team in the country, it's got to make you feel pretty good about the direction of the program.
I think it says a lot about our kids and our coaches that we're working in the right direction. We're getting athletes on the field that can play at this level, and we just got to keep going and get the scoreboard a little bit better.
All right, the program that's up next for you, one you're very familiar with, is the Coyotes take a break now from Missouri Valley Football Conference play to visit the Big Sky, and the University of Montana will be here on Saturday. We're going to hear more about the Grizz when we come back. And welcome back. Well, with another top 15 opponent making its way to the Dakota Dome this week, the Coyotes have no time to dwell on that disappointing loss to Youngstown State. USD will host 7-2 Montana on Saturday afternoon. And for more on that matchup, we bring in Mick Holeen, who's in his 21st season as the voice of the Grizzlies. And Mick, let's start with Joe Glenn, still a very popular guy in Missoula after leading the Grizz to a national title in 2001. Got to be tough for you to get used to seeing him on the other sideline.
Yeah, it's really hard. We, of course, wish him the best in every game except when they happen to be facing off with us. But, when you've been around as long as I have, there's a lot of former coaches that are head coaches, and it's a lot of fun to touch base with them and then strap it up and try to get out of town with a win.
Meanwhile, Montana's current head coach is pretty good as well. After a disappointing first season, Mick Delaney clearly has that program headed back in the right direction.
Well, no doubt about that. Everything's on the plate in front of us except winning the Big Sky Conference title. We've got a chance, of course, to beat our cross-state rival. We've got a chance to run the table, which would place us good as far as pairings for the postseason are concerned. Everything's there except winning the Big Sky, and that's disheartening that isn't on the table. But, boy, there's a lot of teams in the country would love to be 7-2.
The return of Jordan Johnson has certainly helped with that turnaround. 24 touchdowns for him against just one interception this season. Talk about what makes him such a dynamic player.
Well, he's a consummate quarterback. He comes from a coaching family. His father is a quite successful high school coach in Southern Oregon. He is a coach on the field. He knows the offense, of course, inside and out, and gets everybody in the right place at the right time. And the thing that jumps out for me as far as Jordy's concerned is he just doesn't make very many mistakes. And obvious, the stat that jumps out is the interception to touchdown ratio, but you know, he just doesn't throw a ball in unless he thinks that his receiver is the guy that's going to have a chance. And in all of the offense that we run, if there's a chance that the ball's going to be intercepted, he's really good at making the decision and throwing the ball away.
Defensively now, the Grizz gave up 580 yards in last week's overtime win at Sacramento State. Are there concerns on that side of the football right now?
You know, we faced such diverse attacks last month. Sacramento State scored more points in the fourth quarter than the Grizzlies had given up all season long. That's not an aberration. That's definitely a sign that the defense has to play better.
And that again is Mick Holeen from the Grizzly Sports Network. All right, stay tuned. Joe Glenn will be back to give us his thoughts on Saturday's matchup with Montana right after this.
Last week was really tough, and honestly, I think the kids shake it off better than the coaches, and they all shake it off better than the head coach. But you know what? The sun did come up the next day, and when you get back with the coaching staff, I think that gets your motor going a little bit. And then we had a meeting with the team on Sunday and watched the film, and you get with those kids, and they bring up your spirit up even a little higher. So now we'll start on Tuesday, getting ready for the Grizz. This time it's in our house, and we had a pretty good game with them a year ago on the scoreboard anyway, and if we can improve on that, we'll have a great game.
All right, USD meets Montana at 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon in a game that will air live right here on Midco Sports Network. Andre Fields and myself will have the call for you, and we'll be back here to break it all down for you next Tuesday night on another episode of Coyote Corner.